Good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Wednesday, March the 12th, 2025. And of course, it is fight day. Brock Jarvis in the fight of his life, coming up against Keith Thurman, former two-time welterweight champion, world welterweight champion, tonight at the Hordern Pavilion on a big main event pay-per-view. And just forgive me too, by the way, if the wind is coming through the microphone. It has been a bit of a rough night, actually. It's been pretty calm for the last few weeks. But yeah, we did get a bit of wind last night. There's a bit of stuff all over, or a bit of trees and branches and all that sort of stuff all over the road and everything. So must have been a bit through the night. A few bins that have been tipped over as well. So on to tonight, big show. They've built it up pretty well, I will say. For what was initially a fight that I think everyone was first, including myself, by the way, was a bit taken aback. Like, what the hell? Keith Thurman is coming to Australia to fight Brock Jarvis, that skinny little 122-pounder from a few years ago. But he's a different person now. Is Brock Jarvis? I think I've said a couple of times. He reminds me nothing of that skinny little kid that I promoted 7 or 8 years ago. Excuse me, there, something in my eye there. But it was, the weigh-in was yesterday, of course. We have a full card of fights. I don't think any of them are pulled out from what I've heard as of this morning. I'll go through all the fight card in a sec. But yeah, as I said, like the fight itself, I think like a lot of people was like, ugh. And even when I think people got their heads around it, it was like, well, that's a stupid fight. Brock Jarvis has got no chance against Keith Thurman. But as the build-up's gone on, I think a lot of people have probably given him more of a chance. But we'll see. I mean, the big questions remain. Can Keith Thurman wind back the clock? What is he going to be like after 3 years out of the ring? And Brock Jarvis, we know he's always had talent. But is it, at 27 years of age, is it too early to take on someone of the calibre of Keith Thurman? And what about his weight? He's gone from 122 to 135 to 140 to 154. And who knows, could probably keep going. He looked a little bit gaunt at the weigh-in yesterday. So many questions on this fight. That's what I think makes it fascinating. Can Brock Jarvis take it up to Keith Thurman? I think what happens a lot is we go a lot on reputations. I mean, Keith Thurman's instance is probably a little bit different because he's actually got the runs on the board. But I think we just write off boxers just based on reputation and resume and just discard their chances. Now, is this a case of that? Have we just totally discarded Brock Jarvis, who may be the fighter we all think he could have been or could be, and he will do the job on Keith Thurman tonight? It's going to be fascinating. We'll go through the card though, and then we'll have some final thoughts on the main event. All right, well, it starts at 5 o'clock tonight, by the way. I haven't got, yes, I do have that card here. So 5 o'clock, so it's going to be a late one because I think the main card has got 5 fights on the card. One of them is a 4-rounder, which I have no idea why it's on there, but that will be the fight that kicks off the main pay-per-view at 7, but the show does kick off at 5. So we'll go through the fights. The first one that's going to kick us off is, come here, man. What are you doing there? It's bin day, so there's bins everywhere, and he wants to stop and sniff every single bin. Come on, buddy, don't do that. Come on, that's embarrassing. All right, first fight will be a 10-rounder, if you will, just to kick off the telecast at 5 p.m. Lynn Sandstrom will fight Jocelyn Fernandez for the WBA Gold Super Flyweight title. Now, I think it's great that the girls are fighting for a belt. I think it's great that any fighter fights for a belt, but we've got to put an end to these types of belts, don't we? I know the fighters love fighting for them, but what is a WBA gold belt? I'm not exactly sure. But anyway, I'm sure it'll get the girls' ratings, and that's what it's about. Not necessarily about the honours of having the belt. It's what the belt does for their rankings and everything. So Jocelyn Fernandez has fought, I think, here in Australia before, and I think she was stopped by Taylor Robinson. If you're getting stopped by Taylor Robinson, who's quite talented, by the way, but not not exactly packing sledgehammers in her fists. I think that was more of an accumulation of punches from memory, but she'll fight Lynn Sandstrom, who did challenge for the world title last year, the WBA version, I think it was. Come on, buddy. Got himself tangled in a tree now. There we go. So that's over 10 rounds, super flyweight. Look, Lynn Sandstrom's not a bad fighter. Yosin Fernandez is a bit of a battler. Just on the records, by the way, Lynn is 9-3-3 with 2 KOs. Fernandez is 15-6 and 8 KOs. So look, I think we go for the local girl. Good opportunity for her to maybe get back into the rankings and get another shot at that WBA belt. So you would think that we'd be looking at a 10-round decision. You don't see a lot of these fights end early, so I think that Lynn Sandstrom will win a decision over Yoselin Fernandez. Next up, this will be a good one. Jacob Clenshaw, Kavana. Now, I'm bad at the Pacific Islander names as I am as a Russian, so forgive me if I get this wrong. Vaotua. Kavana Vaotua. Now, Jacob Clenshaw, 4-0, 4 KOs. Vaotua is 2-4 with 2 KOs. So, look, you would expect that Jacob Clenshaw, they're trying to get behind. Good record there, 4-0, 4 KOs. Probably another stepping stone for Jacob. He's not a bad fighter. He could develop into a very, very good one, I think, as he goes on in his career. And you'd expect that Jacob Clenshaw will get the win in that one. Pretty predictable. I like the next fight, though. Jason Fawcett. What is he? 8-2-1 with only 1 knockout, but he's a tough guy. He's up against Kohei Hatanaka, who's 1-1 with 1 KO. I think this is the type of fight, though, is that don't get caught up in the records of both of these guys. They're both tough. They both really come to fight. This could be a really action-packed fight, so make sure you tune in for that one. Come on, Neil. All right, hang on, another bin. Jesus. I hate taking this route sometimes because it's all under trees and he's got all sorts of things he can get into. And the houses are actually quite close to the road. So if he needs to, I've got him by the leash at the moment, but sometimes I just let him walk. I've had to sort of run after him a couple of times because he decides to take a detour into someone's front yard and tries to actually get in their houses. Almost got in a house one day. Can you imagine how that went down? All right, so I'm going to go for Jason Fawcett in that one, but not with a lot of confidence because Hatanaka is actually a pretty entertaining fight. It's very loose, very unpredictable, but I'll stick with Jason Fawcett in that one. Then it is, can we call it the main event of the prelims? Let's call it that. Sorry, still got an itchy eye there. Charlie Kazi up against Nort Beauchamp. Charlie Kazi 7-0, 3 knockouts. Nort Beauchamp 19-8-1, 3 KOs. Probably the first step up for young. Oh, geez, what's that there? It's a bloody branch on my. Hang on. There we go. As I said, I hate taking this route. Too many obstacles. It's short though, which is good. Yeah, taking his first step up is Charlie Kazo. As I said, 7-0. Beauchamp, he's been in there with the likes of Brock Jarvis. Geez, can you believe that this is at lightweight? And I reckon he used to fight at bantamweight. There's a little puppy there. Bantamweight, super bantamweight, whatever it was, up to lightweight, I think. Did he fight? Maybe it was a little bit heavier. Maybe it was super featherweight and lightweight. Come on, man. Come on. Yeah, apart from Brock Jarvis, Sam Goodman, little puppy there. You want to say good day? And has a win over Joel Brunker, former Olympian as well. So he can fight, but I will say his best days are behind him. And you would think that Charlie Kazi will get the job done in this one at lightweight. But a good step up for Charlie. Having his 8th fight, I think it's about time he does this. Only a young kid, so he's got plenty of time, but very well spoken, and the kid can fight. So looking forward to seeing Charlie on that, or in that main fight on the prelim card. Then, of course, we go into the main card and some good fights. Now, the telecast off will be Sonny Knight and Jordan Martin. Now, I'm not quite sure why they have a 4-rounder to kick things off when you've got 4 10-rounders on the card. Now, I know sometimes they just like to have a little bit of an appetizer to get things started, but you don't sort of see it in the overseas cards these days. They just jump straight into it, especially the Riyadh cards. So look, Sunday Night is very, very good prospect. 4-0, 3 knockouts. Jordan Martin 4-2 with 4 KOs. I'm not quite sure I've actually seen Jordan Martin fight, but I have seen Sunday Night fight, and he's a very, very good prospect as well, 4-0. So that's 4 rounds at super welterweight. Not much of him Sunday Night. He's only small, but he's very, very well stocked. He's very well built, very stocky. Come here, ma'am. Come on, down here. Car's coming. So you would expect Sunday Night to get the job done in that one. And then we move into the 4 big fights on the card. So the first one to kick us off will be the Australian light heavyweight title. Now this is an excellent fight to get things going for those 4 main fights. Tonga Tongo against Kira Rustin. Now Tongo is 9-0 with 9 knockouts. Kira Rustin is 4-0 with 4 knockouts. So yes, 13-0 with 13 KOs between them. Both guys can punch. I think Kira Rustin is probably the more talented fighter of the two, but that doesn't mean anything when you've got a killer in there like Tonga. I watched him totally dismantle Max Reeves last year. Very, very good fighter. Fights a lot better than he speaks, because if you've seen him at the press conference the other day, the poor bugger was very, very awkward, and he basically just said, no, I'm not going to answer any questions. This is too much for me. You got to love that about him, but very, very good prospect coming up. And this is the type of fight that it could be a little bit early for both guys. I don't know, both good prospects. Obviously, both back themselves to win. I'm going to go with Kira Rustin to win. What is it? It's 10 rounds. So yeah, Australian light heavyweight title. I'm going to go for Kira Rustin in an all-action fight to get the job done in, I'm going to say 7 rounds. I think Tongo, he can tire him out, can Rustin. And I think that the early rounds will be quite hectic and entertaining, that's for sure. And I just think maybe Tongo might maybe gas a little bit, and the class of Kira Rustin will come to the fore, and I think he might get Tongo out of there. I'm not saying in a devastating way, but maybe just accumulation punches might get the best of Tongo. So I'm going to go for Kira Rustin in a 7th round stoppage in that one. Then we get into Matteo Tapia, Sergey Vorobev. That is for the IBF Intercontinental Middleweight title. So we have Tapia, who's 17-0, 1 draw. Very lucky in that draw, by the way, against Endry Saavedra. And then Sergey Vorobev is 20-2 with 14 knockouts. Now, the one thing here, look, pretty impressive record by Vorobev, but look, apart from, I forgot to look at who the other loss was to. He did lose to another fight in Australia. Actually, I'm just going to go to that now. I think I had the box rec up before. Let's have a look. I need to have a bit of a look at his record. The other loss was to, I thought it was someone in Australia, someone named Karan Chakajan back in 2020. The other one was Wade Ryan. All right, so since then he's coming off 2 draws against, he had a stoppage over someone after the Wade Ryan loss, but then he's had draws against Wes Kappa and Mason Smith, who aren't exactly top liners in Australian boxing. So he looks impressive, does Vorobev. As far as, obviously his physique, he looks pretty good, but also his fighting style, does everything okay, very neat, got a good kit of punches, looks the goods, but I just don't think he's got anything that's going to trouble Matteo Tapia. Matteo Tapia is a serious world level type of fighter. Come on, man, we're going this way. I don't think Vorobev is. Vorobev is. Look, I think this could be a stoppage for Matteo Tapia. Or will it? Or will he just take the time to get his 10 rounds? Matteo's not a massive puncher. Let's just say maybe an easy points decision. I think Vorobev has got the tools maybe just to survive. I watched a little bit of his fight with Wade Ryan last night. Just went through that, some highlights and everything. And he should have had the tools to beat Wade Ryan. Wade Ryan is a battler. I'm a big admirer of what Wade has done, but in my opinion, not exactly a world level fighter, and he really struggled against Wade Ryan, did Vorobev. So I just think Matteo Tapia, it'll be a pretty clear cut decision. I think it'll be a good confidence booster for Matteo after the last fight, that scare he had, almost took his first L, got dropped 2 or 3 times. I think he'll take the opportunity to maybe just go through to a 10-round decision over Vorobyev. One-sided decision, I think. I don't think Vorobev's got anything to offer Matteo Tapia. Then we get into the co-main, Bashir A up against Michael Zarafa. Now, I had a good look at Bashir A yesterday. I found a fight of his from a couple of years ago, and he's capable. I wouldn't look. I'm really up in the air about what to make of him now, because the fights I've seen him on YouTube, let's just say, weren't exactly against the top 3 or 4 fighters in the world. If you get what I'm saying, they were battlers, and he looked really good in stages, but he looked really vulnerable in others. At some stages, he pops out the jab. He's got really good lateral movement to the left and right. He likes to throw 3, 4, 5 punches in a row sometimes. What I actually don't mind about him is he sort of starts underneath and then comes over the top with a real sneaky little right hand over the top to finish. And he throws it really well. So that could be a bit of a trap for Michael Zarafa. But at other times I saw him get hit with punches that he really shouldn't have been getting hit with. Gassed a little bit later in fights. It was really funny. The one fight I did watch, he was really good for about 8.5 rounds, didn't show any signs of gassing. And then in the last round and a half, looked completely gassed. So I can't make anything of that. But Michael Zarafa, again, a little bit of an enigma. Looks good in the fights where he's the heavy favourite, but has really struggled at the world level. Domestically, very, very good fighter, but again, yeah, hasn't been able to put it together when he's fought those elite world-class fighters. Now, is Bashir A world-class? I don't know, because he hasn't really fought anyone to give us a gauge. He's, what is he, 19-1 with 9 KOs. Not a big puncher, obviously. Michael Zarafa is 32-5 with 20 knockouts. Can punch. Not a big puncher, but can punch, if that makes sense. So, look, you'd probably have to stick with Michael Zarafa just because of the script. You wouldn't have thought that they're going to bring out Bashir A if he's a chance of beating Michael Zarafa. But I think he's very, very capable of doing it, Bashir A. What I will say, I'm going to stick with Michael Zarafa on a close points decision. And who knows, there might even be a little bit of controversy about the result. But I won't be surprised if Bashir A causes the upset. That's what I'll say. He's very capable of pulling the upset, and I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm going to stick with Michael Zarafa on points in that one. And then, of course, the main event, Keith Thurman and Brock Jarvis. And again, it's really, really tough to make anything of this fight. What will Keith Thurman bring? We've seen him in the past, good on his feet, fast with his hands, really good boxing IQ. Brock Jarvis he's transformed from when he was back in those lighter weight divisions, a really classy, slick little fighter. Did like to come forward a lot though, so same style in some way. Never utilised his height and reach advantage that he had. He utilised his strength and the volume of punches that he was throwing under Jeff Fennick. He's not going to throw the same volume of punches at this weight. He's just too top heavy, and that's the problem. I just think I watched his fight with Adrian Rodriguez yesterday. Look, got the job done. Very, very capable is Brock, especially in the early rounds. He's actually a lot quicker than what I thought he was at the weight. Granted, he was fighting Adrian Rodriguez, who was just pretty much a punching bag in there, who really offered nothing in return. It was almost like a pad session for Brock Jarvis. That's what it reminded me of, where he was just picking his shots and then going boom, 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 and really getting nothing in return, no risk. So yeah, look, I'm just thinking if we get any semblance of Keith Thurman at his best. Now, I'm just thinking a little bit of lateral movement, the moving, the balking, the feinting, the moving to the sides, picking his shots. That will be the game plan I think he will embrace. Brock Jarvis, the big concern for me is that he doesn't move his head coming in. He moves in and out in a straight line, and he doesn't really alter it. Sometimes he'll just sort of dip his left shoulder a little bit, just to sort of give himself a little bit of angle, bit of range, a bit of leverage, but he telegraphs it. And he did eat a couple of punches from Adrian Rodriguez, who again is a very, very limited fighter. Tough, but limited. And I just don't like the way sort of Brock is very predictable. And that might work against the Adrian Rodriguez's of the world, but it doesn't work against elite fighters like Keith Thurman. So he moves in and out and can get caught. We have seen him hurt numerous times in his fights, and badly. Will the extra weight help him where he's not wasting away? I don't think Keith Thurman's, even though he's got a pretty good record, does Keith. And what was the records, by the way? I think Brock is what, 20, what is he? Hang on, let's have a look. So Brock is 22-1 with 20 knockouts. Keith is 30-1 with 22 knockouts, but not known as a real devastating puncher. So predictions, I don't know. Look, I think I'll err on the side of caution and statistics and resumes and records and go for Keith Thurman. I think he might get Brock Jarvis out of there later in the fight. I think Brock will come forward aggressively at the start, although he did surprisingly say the other day when he was interviewed that he might start cautiously and see what Keith's got and then pick it up from there. Not a great strategy, I wouldn't have thought, and I'm pretty sure Sean Porter also mentioned the same thing. I think Brock's got to really start fast. Don't let Keith Thurman get his range and timing and his confidence up after 3 years out the ring. I think Brock really needs to put it on him early, maybe try and bank a few rounds, and then when Keith Thurman inevitably does find his range and timing and starts to get into the fight, he's got a few rounds under his belt and he can sort of hang with Keith as the fight goes on. But I am concerned about Brock's conditioning. I think if it's sort of even after 5 or 6 rounds, I would expect Keith Thurman to probably pick it up and maybe stop Brock late. I'm going to say an 8th or 9th round stoppage for Keith Thurman. I think a class will come to the fore at the end or in the later rounds. I think Brock will perform well early in the fight, mainly because Keith will probably just want to see what Brock's got and take his time. Again, he's been out of the ring for 3 years, so I think he will just take the time. And I think as the fight goes on, you'll see him start to pick it up a little bit, and then the class will be the difference in the end. And I think, I'm not going to say he's going to knock Brock out, but I think maybe Keith will pick it up enough where the referee might either stop the fight or maybe the corner might throw in the towel. But I'm going to say at 9 rounds. How's that? I'll say a ninth round stoppage for Keith Thurman in the main event. So either way, I'll be watching. Should be a very, very good card, and it's always a great night when there's a pay-per-view on. No Limit do it very, very well. All right, so just a couple of things before I go. Oscar De La Hoya has spoken about the TKO situation, and just like Eddie Hearn, he said, oh, well, it's all good if it doesn't work out. He did say he was a little bit offended, though, that he'd chosen, Turki Al-Sheikh had chosen Dana White as his man in boxing and not looked at Oscar. He's been around a long time in the sport, of course, pretty much all of his life. So he was a little bit offended, but it just said, look, if Turki Al-Sheikh moves another way, well, just like Eddie Hearn, he'll just get on with his business. I'm not quite sure Oscar's business is as stable and successful as Eddie Hearn's is, but he's been in the game for a long time, so I'm sure he'll find a way to hang in there going forward. And the other thing was apparently the David Benavides and Dimitri Bivol talks about a fight being close to being made for the summer over there is false, and they're a little bit away. Apparently, who was it? Turki Al-Sheikh wants the B2B fight. Samson Lukovic did say they want the fight, but haven't had any formal offers from Turki Al-Sheikh, and nothing on the agenda. Come here, man. Another dog over there. Morning. Come on, man. Come on. All right, and one last thing. Okay, it's been a big one this morning. Come on, man. Jeez. Just loses himself when he sees another dog. And one last thing. There was also talks that Bakram Murtazaliyov and Virgil Ortiz were close to a fight or having a fight arranged or signed, whatever. Apparently, an offer was sent from Team Murtazaliyov to Team Ortiz, and it was rejected, although Oscar De La Hoya has said he's seen nothing but the offer from Turki Al-Sheikh apparently was sent and hasn't been received. I don't know, a lot of things out there, but by all accounts, at this stage, it is not going to happen. Virgil Ortiz looks like he might even have to have surgery on his hands after that last fight over or with Madrimov, that win. So a little bit of water to go under the bridge there. But you think Murtazaliyov, he's got to find someone. nothing on the horizon since that great win over Tim Zoo. Time can go by very, very quickly, and isn't it just unbelievable that he's got a world title and can't get a fight? So pretty crazy. So anyway, guys, that's going to do it. If you're watching the fight tonight, enjoy it. We'll do obviously a full review tomorrow, and plenty to talk about, no doubt. So guys, have a great day. We'll catch you tomorrow.